Hello, this is Dragonfly, and welcome to Halo 5 Force Tutorial Episode 2. In this episode, we're going to discuss the power of powers, and no pun intended. And basically, what we're going to talk about is how objects can interact if certain switches were turned on and off. So let's go ahead and show you the basics real quick. So let's say you have a platform that you want to move from one end to another, and you want it to behave more like a switch instead of a button. So in this case, I already programmed these terminals to provide that switch capability. And so let me show you a brief demonstration. For example, I interact with this terminal and the platform moves towards that direction, but I can also request it to come back, and the platform should be able to come to my direction again. And if I was on the platform, I can just go ahead and press this terminal button, and I can go ahead and make it over there. And I can also do the same in reverse as well, just by interacting with these. So what's going on here? How are we able to create a sort of switch to allow for this type of navigation? All right, so let's go ahead and recreate this whole entire thing. All right, so if you're on the Forge PC version, what you can actually do is just drag the whole screen. Alternatively, you can just hold down control and then left click to individually select and deselect the objects on the map. So you can also hold down Control D to duplicate the objects that you selected, and that way you can go ahead and speed up the development on your map, such as duplicating bases, duplicating structures, and so forth. So here's what we're going to do here. I'm going to go ahead and select all of these objects once again, and I'm going to clear their scripts. We're going to go ahead and start over from scratch so we can go ahead and show you how we're going to do this. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is we want to go ahead and click these three switches, and then you want to go ahead and press the P key to pull up its object properties. And since you have multiple terminals opened up at the same time and they don't have any scripts, you can actually simultaneously add a script to all three of them, and that actually helps speed up the process better. Let's go ahead and pick a script for this. And like I previously mentioned, Halo 5's Forge scripting works in an action-oriented manner, so it waits for an event to occur in order to do a series of actions. And we're gonna go ahead and go back to the interacted condition like we did in our previous episode. But in this case, instead of sending a message, we're going to go for the next action on the list called power set. So power is effectively a switch that alternates, and basically it can be turned on or off upon your programming, or it could be set to toggle in order to alternate between on and off. And this is how we can go ahead and set up this particular movement. Now, basically what we're gonna go ahead and do is set up this action exactly how it is. Actually, we're just gonna go ahead and set the power, and like message sent, we're gonna have an alpha channel, assign a channel to it, and then we're gonna make it toggle between on and off. Instead of doing one or the other, we can actually do both on all three terminals. So all three terminals have pretty much the same script, since we managed to add them at the same time. And here's what we're going to do. So we're gonna go ahead and program this block and add it one script. Now we're gonna actually add two scripts for this. Okay, so the first script is going to detect whether the switch power on the alpha channel, not Bravo or Charlie, just alpha, is turned on. And the action that it's gonna take once the switch is turned on is that we're gonna go ahead and move it to the other side of this map. So we're gonna go ahead and pick the move offset action once again, and we're gonna make it move 64 steps on the global x-axis. We're not gonna use the local x-axis, we're gonna use the global x-axis. and we're gonna make it travel 64 steps that way within 5 seconds as soon as the power is turned on. Okay, so it's gonna wait for that to happen. Now, as a caveat, we also need to add the same script to this object, because otherwise it's gonna stay floating in midair. So we're gonna go ahead and do the same thing here. We're gonna pick the move offset action. We're gonna pick 64 global, 5 seconds, and then we'll go ahead and go back to this object here. 64 global. Okay, so everything looks good. It's gonna move that way as soon as it's turned on, but we do need to make it respond and give it an individual script in the event that the switch was turned off. So we're gonna go ahead and add a second script. We're gonna go back to power check alpha. This time we're gonna check off, and instead of using the move offset action, we can actually do this in a simpler way, and we're just gonna go ahead and pick position, rotation, reset. So what this does is that it resets its position or rotation in a given amount of time. But in this case, we're gonna go ahead and make it reset in 5 seconds instead of resetting instantly if it was 0 seconds. We're gonna pick 5 seconds. Now, under position, rotation, reset, you actually have the option to reset its velocity, reset its position on the map, and reset its orientation. Like basically, if this thing were like this, then position, rotation, reset would reset it like this if this was the default angle when it first spawned. But you know, it can also reset the position in the same way. So when it's turned off, it's gonna go ahead and reset back to where it started, including its orientation and everything, within 5 seconds. And that's how we're gonna make this back and forth move. Now, like I previously mentioned, we can't forget about this switch, because otherwise it's gonna go ahead and move that way, but it's not gonna come back because it doesn't have its own script to respond once power is turned off. So we're gonna go ahead and create a script to make it react in the event that alpha was turned off. And we're gonna do the exact same thing. We're gonna pick the position, rotation, reset option. We're gonna set it to reset within 5 seconds. And that way, both the block and the terminal should be synchronized. So let's go ahead and give it a go and see how it works out. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and send the block in the terminal that way. Okay. All right, perfect. So far, so good. Let's go ahead and bring it back. Okay, perfect. It's nearly impeccable. So let's go ahead and hop on the platform, move us that way. And we can go ahead and bring it back and see how that works out. Oh yeah, and there's also a little bit of a blooper. Basically, since these objects are effectively identical, then and they have the same scripts and everything and the same traits and properties, it's very likely that they're going to also respond the exact same way. So you do need to be careful about which channels you use when you're using this type of switch, because you might end up activating things out of order. So if you want to make one block respond but not the other, the solution is very simple, and I'm going to show you in a second, of course. All right, so since these both terminals have identical scripts, we can go ahead and modify the scripts at the same time. We can't do the same for this because this has 2 additional scripts that are synchronized with the block. So these, we need to leave them alone for now. Let's go ahead and work on these. So with the interactive event, the solution is very simple. Instead of setting the power to alpha channel, we're gonna go ahead to Bravo channel, and then we leave everything else the same. For this object, we're gonna go ahead and do the same thing for him, but we're gonna take some additional steps and modify the rest of them. So we're gonna change the channel from alpha to Bravo. Simple stuff. There we go. Same thing with this guy. Bravo. Bravo. Now we can go ahead and interact with these objects without having these objects get in the way. So let me go ahead and show you real quick. There we go. See? Now these objects are still, because we're now communicating on the Bravo channel, and this works the exact same way with message send. When you're sending a message, you can also send it to the Bravo channel to have different objects interact in different ways and have some objects interact and not others. So basically, that's pretty much how it works with the Power channel. It can be very versatile for some very advanced scripting that we're gonna go ahead and discuss further down the road. But this is all we have for now. So stay tuned for episode 3, and I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and I hope you're able to create some awesome maps someday. So thank you very much for watching, and have a great day.